For nearly 700 years, this land burned in war. Kingdoms fell, armies vanished, and entire cities were wiped from the map. An unstoppable force had already conquered almost everything, and nothing seemed capable of resisting it. But in the mountains, a small group refused to surrender, outnumbered, isolated, forgotten, and yet they would begin a war that would change history forever. In the early 8th century, the Iberian Peninsula changed forever. Armies of the Umayyad Caliphate crossed into Hispania with incredible speed. These forces, made up of Arab and Berber warriors, overwhelmed the Visigothic kingdom, which was already weakened by internal conflict and instability. Within just a few years, most of Iberia had fallen. The Muslim forces stood ready to push even further into Europe. But in the north, things were different. In the rugged mountains of northern Spain, resistance began to take shape. Local populations, including Asturians and Basques, refused to submit. Leading them was a nobleman named Pelagius. Through alliances, diplomacy, and determination, he established a small independent state, the Kingdom of Asturias. In 722, Muslim forces attempted to crush this resistance. But in the mountains of Covadonga, they were defeated. This small but symbolic victory marked the beginning of a long struggle, the Reconquista. Despite this victory, the Christian kingdoms remained weak. Their population was small, their armies limited, and their enemies far stronger. Meanwhile, Muslim rulers turned their attention elsewhere, launching campaigns into the Frankish kingdom. But their advance into France was halted when they were defeated by Charles Martel. At the same time, internal revolts began to weaken Muslim control in Iberia. Berber uprisings and political conflicts divided their leadership. Sensing opportunity, the Christian kingdoms began to expand slowly. New leaders emerged. Alfonso I expanded territories by capturing cities like Porto and reclaiming parts of Galicia and Leon. Later rulers continued this slow advance. Fortified settlements were built along the frontier, creating defensive lines against raids. These fortresses would later give rise to the name Castile. Meanwhile, in the northeast, Charlemagne pushed Muslim forces back and established the Spanish March as a buffer zone. But progress was not steady. Christian rulers constantly fought among themselves. New kingdoms formed, alliances shifted, and power struggles were common. While Christians were divided, Muslim power rose again. Abd al-Rahman III transformed Córdoba into a powerful and wealthy caliphate. He built a strong professional army and launched campaigns that forced Christian kingdoms into submission. At times, these kingdoms even paid tribute. But in 939, a coalition of Christian forces united and defeated his army. Still, unity did not last. Internal conflicts resumed, allowing Muslim rulers to recover. Then came one of the most feared leaders of the era, Al-Mansur. A brilliant general and ruthless strategist, he launched over 50 campaigns against Christian lands. Cities were destroyed. Populations were enslaved. Kingdoms were humiliated. He also used diplomacy and manipulation to divide his enemies. Under his leadership, Muslim dominance reached its peak. But after his death, everything changed. The Caliphate of Córdoba fell into chaos. Civil war broke out, and by 1031, it fragmented into smaller states known as taifas. For the Christian kingdoms, this was a turning point. Now divided, their enemies were far easier to defeat. Christian rulers launched new campaigns. Ferdinand the Great expanded his influence across Iberia. His successor, Alfonso VI, captured Toledo in 1085, a major symbolic and strategic victory. But this success triggered a response. Muslim rulers called for help from North Africa. The Almoravids arrived and defeated Christian armies in several battles. Later, another powerful dynasty, the Almohads, took control and pushed north again. The balance of power shifted once more. In 1212, everything changed. Christian kingdoms united in a massive coalition. At the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa, they faced a much larger Muslim army. Against the odds, they won. This victory broke Muslim power in Iberia. From that moment on, the Reconquista became unstoppable. Christian forces advanced rapidly. Major cities like Córdoba, Seville, and Valencia fell. Portugal completed its own reconquest. Only one Muslim state remained, Granada. For over 2 centuries, it survived through diplomacy and tribute. But in 1492, it too fell. The Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand and Isabella, captured Granada. The Reconquista was complete. But their victory came at a cost. Religious intolerance increased. Muslims and Jews were forced to convert, flee, or face persecution. With Iberia united, Spain turned its attention outward. That same year, 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail. The end of one long war marked the beginning of a new global era, a war that lasted centuries, a struggle that shaped nations, and a legacy that still echoes today.